I want to tell you about a conversation I had that I still think about. It was with a young medical graduate, a brilliant chap, top of his class actually. He just finished his final exams and was done, of course, complete paper submitted, and I expected him to be celebrating. But when I spoke to him, he was quiet and almost unsettled, and I asked him, "How are you feeling about all this?" He paused for a long time and then he said to me, "Honestly, I don't know what to do next. I know how to manage a patient, I know my drugs, I know my procedures, but I have no idea how to build a career. Nobody taught me that part." And that sentence stopped me cold because he was right. Nobody taught him that part. Nobody taught any of us that part. And that is exactly why we are here today. Welcome to After Campus series. This is the series I wish had existed when I was in your shoes. Now, over the next 20 episodes, we are going to cover everything that medical school, pharmacy school, nursing school, whatever your training was, never sat you down and taught you. Talk about the career stuff, the real stuff. How to survive the pre-internship period, how to network without feeling awkward, how to find opportunities that nobody tells you about, how to think about non-clinical paths, and how to build career that is actually intentional instead of one you just drifted into, as many of us are likely doing currently. So if you are a medical student in your final year, a fresh graduate wondering what comes next, a pre-intern in the middle of that long, uncertain waiting period, or an early career professional who feels like something is missing, this series is yours. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get into it. Let me take you back. Picture this: a lecture hall. It's in your first year of medical school. You're sitting there with your brand new notebook, maybe a little intimidated, maybe a little excited, and probably both. And the lecturer walks into the lecture hall, and from that moment, for the next 5, 6 years, or even 7 years of your life, you are poured into it. And that is poured into anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, talk about pharmacology, pathology, clinical rotations, talk about all of them, the ward rounds that you'll be attending to, examinations that will be coming along your way, the OSCEs, talk about all of them, more examinations, of course, and you study harder than most people ever will in their lives. So you make sacrifices that your peers outside of medicine will genuinely never understand. Talk about the sleepless nights, the missed birthdays, the relationships that are strained. Social life, of course, what social life do you have as a medical student? And then one day, it's all over. Results are out. You passed your exams and you're now probably officially a graduate after that long, strenuous stretch of studies. You're now a doctor, you're a pharmacist, you're a nurse, you're a dentist, you're a lab scientist, whatever your qualification is, you earned it. Your family is proud of you and you're proud of yourself, of course. The photos are taken during your graduation, the celebrations happen, and then the reality begins setting in. Monday comes. Now, here's what most graduates do in that particular moment. They panic quietly, they start asking around. They go on the government portal and refresh it every 3 days looking for internship postings. Of course, they join every WhatsApp group they can find. They watch their classmates update on Instagram and feel a creeping anxiety that everyone else has figured it out and they haven't yet figured it out. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Because I want you to know it should. because this is the experience of almost every medical graduate in this country and in most of Africa, actually. Now, here is what I want you to understand today. I want you to really hear this out. Medical training is exceptional at one thing, making you a clinician. It's exceptional at making you a clinician. It teaches you the science of the human body with incredible depth. It trains you to think critically under pressure. It builds your clinical reasoning, your diagnostic skills, your practical abilities. Talk about all of them. And that is not a small thing. This is genuinely remarkable. But here is what it does not teach you. It does not teach you how to write a CV that gets you noticed. It does not teach you how to walk into a room of senior professionals and hold a conversation with them. It does not teach you what to do during a 12-month gap between graduation and your internship posting. It does not teach you how to think about your career beyond the immediate next step. It does not teach you also that there are career paths in medicine that don't involve seeing patients at all, and that those paths are legitimate, impactful, and often incredibly fulfilling. It does not teach you how to handle the psychological weight of uncertainty, and it absolutely does not teach you how to build something of your own. Now, why is this the case? Is it a case of negligence or is it a gap in the curriculum? Partly, that would be my take. I think the deeper reason is this, that medical training was designed for a different era, an era where the path was linear and very predictable. Talk about graduation, internship, and then being posted as a medical officer, and then you become a specialist. But that is a straight line. It has clear steps that you can easily follow, but that world has changed dramatically. And the healthcare landscape today, it's a bit complex. You talk about the job market, which is very competitive. Talk about the opportunities, and by opportunities, I'm talking about both clinical and non-clinical opportunities, which are wider than they have ever been. And yet the curriculum hasn't caught up with this. So you walk out with an incredible clinical foundation and almost no professional toolkit that can help you. And that is the gap that exists. And that gap is exactly what this series exists to fill. I want to tell you about two students, and let's call them Amara and Kevin. Now, they graduate the same year, same university, of course, having done the same course and having attained similar grades. So, in summary, they had the same starting point. Now, Amara finishes her exams and goes home. Of course, she's tired, and understandably so, because she's been through a rigorous system of training for about 5 or 6 years. And she tells herself she will rest for a month and then figure out next steps. A month passes, and then because there is no structure, no deadline, no pressure, another month passes. She refreshes the government internship portal and nothing new has been updated. So she goes back to scrolling. Her confidence starts to quietly erode. She's not lazy. She's not unambitious. She just doesn't have a plan because nobody gave her a framework to follow in this particular phase of her life. Nobody told her what to do with this time. And so the time moves without her, unfortunately. On the other hand, we have Kevin. Kevin finishes the same exams, same exhaustion, but Kevin had a conversation, just one conversation, with a senior professional who had been through the same thing. And that person said to him, the pre-internship period is not a gap, it's a runway. Use it. And Kevin did exactly that. He spent 2 weeks resting, and that is genuine rest. Then he sat down and made a list. He started volunteering at a health facility to stay clinically sharp. He reached out to a researcher at his university and offered to help with data collection on an ongoing study. He built his LinkedIn profile. He started posting about public health topics. He attended two professional forums, one of which had a connection that eventually recommended him for a fellowship opportunity. And he spent time reading about career paths in healthcare that he had never considered before. By the time his internship posting came through, Kevin didn't just have a placement. He had something extra. He had a network. He had experience. He had a CV with substance, not just a few summary lines. And he had clarity about where he wanted to go. Now, same qualification, same starting point, but very different outcomes. The difference was not in intelligence. The difference was not luck. The difference was information and having a plan. So here's exactly what After Campus series is going to give you. So over the next 20 episodes, which will be one episode every single day for the next 20 days, we are going to go deep on four main things. Now, the first 5 episodes, they're about knowing yourself. Before you can build a career, you need to understand who you are beyond your degree. So we'll be talking about your values, we'll be talking about your strengths, we'll be talking about what kind of work actually energizes you. And we are going to tackle the comparison culture inside medical training, because it is quietly destroying more careers than people actually realize it. And then episodes 6 to 10 are the ones that I think will hit closest to home for many of you. It's actually about the pre-internship period, that 12-month gap between graduation and internship that nobody prepares you for. We are going to talk about what to do clinically, professionally, and mentally during that particular period of time, because that year is not a waiting room. It is actually a launch pad if you use it correctly. Then episodes 11 to 15 are about getting into the room, talking about networking, finding opportunities, building a professional presence, and also how to approach senior people without feeling like a burden, how to write applications that actually get responses, and where the opportunities actually are, including the ones that are never advertised publicly. Episodes 16 to 20 are about expanding your vision, and we are going to map out every major career direction available to you as a medical professional. Talk about the global health, the pharma, medical writing, health technology, entrepreneurship, policy, parts that your training pointed you away from, but that are deeply meaningful and wide open for people with your background. Now, this is not a motivational series. I have to be very clear. This is not a motivational series, and I'm not here to hype you up and send you back to the same confusion. Now, every single episode ends with something practical, something you can actually do, a framework, a template, an exercise, a resource, whatever you want to call it, because information without action is just entertainment. Having information without taking the necessary action is just entertainment, and you deserve more than that. Now, before I let you go today, I want to say something that I don't think gets said enough. The uncertainty you're feeling right now, it is not a sign that you made the wrong choice. It is not a sign that you are not good enough. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you, but it is a sign that you are trained for one thing, and the world is asking you to navigate something much broader. And nobody handed you the map to do this. Nobody gave you the map to do this. And that is not your failure. It is a gap in the system that hasn't been addressed. And gaps can be filled, of course. Now, the students I've watched thrive in this profession, not just survive, but genuinely thrive. They weren't the most brilliant. They weren't the most connected. They were the ones who got intentional early, who asked questions like the ones this series is going to answer, who are willing to invest time in understanding the landscape before they tried to navigate it. That willingness is what brought you here today, and it is going to serve you more than you know. And you'll be looking back and thank yourself for taking that particular step. So here is what I want you to do right now. Here is what I want you to do right now. Three things, very simple things that I want you to do. First is to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because episodes drop every day. For the next 20 days, episodes will be dropping every day, Monday to Friday. They'll be dropping every day, and you don't want to miss a single one, because this series builds on itself. Second is to drop a comment below. Tell me, what is the one thing you wish someone had told you before you graduated? Or if you're still a student, what is the one thing you are most afraid of about life after campus? I read every comment, and your answer might actually shape where we go in this series. And thirdly, share this video. Send it to a classmate, a coursemate, a friend in clinical school. Because if this conversation needed to happen for you, there is someone in your WhatsApp right now who needs it as well. That's episode 1. In the next video, we are going straight into something that I think will challenge you in the best possible way. We are talking about identity, about who you are beyond that degree that you worked so hard for, and why figuring that out now might be the most important career move you ever make. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Libea Bethwell, and I'm a pharmacist. It's a pleasure to have you here, and this is After Campus series. See you in the next episode.